online, so just unmute yourself if you have any questions, but we'll begin our meeting. Or I'll let the chair.
Yeah, so Andy, if you wanna.
Okay, let's start the meeting. The meeting starts at 7:25. And we acknowledge and respect the indigenous people within whose territorial lands we are on meeting today. And should we adopt the agenda, or is there anything extra in there, or?
Chair, I have, if possible, I'd like, there's a whole bunch of things happening in Area I, and I would really like to update the APHC on them. I know it'll be like rapid fire, but if you have questions, whatever, but it won't take.
Do you want to start with that?
You wanna start?
If that's okay.
I would like that.
Okay, let's start.
Yes.
And then if you have questions on, because there really are a lot of things happening and even since our last meeting. So then that would be, okay, so
Let's
then-
do the minutes and then you
Yeah.
can jump in
yeah,
there.
wherever down, wherever you want to put us.
Okay. Let's do number 4 first.
Well, we would
Okay,
do 3
you wanna-
as amended, right?
Yep, got it, yeah.
Okay, so number 3 first, Andy. So the
Okay,
agenda,
you wanna adopt the
be
minutes
adopted as amended.
as
You guys-
amended?
You guys gotta move
And
a
I-
second and vote.
Move and Andy seconds.
Okay, and then we'll let Andy, David.
And receipt of minutes.
Receipt the minutes.
Yeah, so I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Okay,
And then you second. and
I'll
you guys-
second it.
Yep, okay. And all you guys in favor? Nobody
Yes.
opposed? And then you get into the old business, but that'll be our OCP, so the new 5 will be the director update, Area I director update. Okay, and then we'll have, we'll do the deep dive into OCP. And then we will have public time at number 6. Or number 7, that'll be 7, this will be 6, and 8 will be next meeting date.
Yes.
Okay. Good, Chair, you ready for my, oh, you gotta adopt that, we did the agenda.
Yes.
You ready for my
Okay,
area
Andy,
director
David,
update?
David, if you can.
Okay.
With your, whatever you got.
Yeah. Go upstairs, they're upstairs. Oh,
Upstairs, yeah.
just want to give people an opportunity. So the first thing is the budget update. And I just wanted to share that I've worked really hard to try and reduce taxation in Area I. And it was at times an extremely frustrating exercise. But I did manage to all the things at every level that I could possibly influence the Area I budget. I did manage to reduce taxation from 10.2 to 8.5% increase. So, but it could have been a lot better than that, had there been some cooperation from particularly City Castlegar. Area J director was not cooperating. And of course, at the board table, you have to get the whole board on side for certain things. But it was really interesting at the board table, some of the motions, and Bill sent me an email on this, and Adrian, were you watching as well? Or so basically there were I think it was 13 motions at the board table. And the ones that impacted just Area I passed, but many of the others were defeated or weren't even seconded. So then they died before they could even be discussed.
These are ones that you brought forward.
13 of mine, on behalf of not just Area I ratepayers, but ratepayers in the whole regional district. Many of them would impact everyone, and I'm not gonna go through them all because, and I worked really hard on this, you know, and then kept asking staff questions, communicating with staff. So I just wanted to say that the effort is worth it every time. And for us to move from where we were to 8.5, we could have probably been in the, you know, at about inflation rate, even with the enormous increase in the aquatic center budget. We could have been sort of at, my goal was to try to get us at least to inflation level, you know what I'm saying? Like the 6% or so would be, I thought would be a fair place for us to end up at. Or the best case scenario, given what we're facing with the rec complex. So
I'll expect, what do you call it, a 6% increase in my pension.
yes,
pay.
and actually, I will be personally cutting a check to everybody in Area I to make sure that not gonna happen.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
my chief financial officer would not approve of that at all. She'd say, now I know you've really lost it. So there you go. What did you say?
The pension guys are gonna get increased by Trudeau too.
Oh, by everybody. Oh, there'll be
Yeah.
increases. all
Election
over the
coming.
place. Okay, so before we do anything else, please help yourselves. I picked up the have we only got one box there? Oh, there's the other, okay. So there are donuts, and that's available for everybody. There are donuts, assorted muffins, Timbits, and then I hopefully brought a choice of something for everyone here, and actually, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, see?
Now it's party.
Huh?
Now it's
No, no.
party.
Oh, not quite.
That's what you have in your bag.
Yeah, you know.
26.
Oh, my God. Okay, so for those of you online, we have our resident comedian, Marcy. Yeah, this is almost like the Truman Show here. So, so the next thing, and I'm glad Eileen's here, but I think we had a really awesome Terry's Community Hall Society AGM. And that was when Thursday night?
Yes.
Last Thursday. And new people stepping up. And we've got 3 projects that we will be proceeding with, or the board or the meeting authorized. One of them is we are going to be doing the mural project on the wall. So that will be proceeding where the stable wall is, at one end of the Terry's Community Hall. It's the historic. where
Oh,
there
that
used to be
big
a
wall?
thing- The
That
big
big
wall, yeah.
wall.
That thing, that big concrete
out.
abutment,
And-
that is the remnant of
Correct.
the historic stables that were there. And so years ago, the Terrace Community Hall Society received the CBT CIP, now it's Ready grant, to have a mural on that wall. And we deferred that for up to now because we were saving up money for the childcare project at the Terrace Community Hall. So the meeting decided, let's proceed with the mural because we don't want to lose that money, right? Because it goes back in the pot. So that's one. And then there's an artist has stepped up to work,
Yeah.
come forward to, came to the meeting, stepped up to work with Eileen and the board to move that project forward. So that's a neat thing. The other thing we're doing is, we have another project, and this is an upgrade to the removal of the oil
There's Peter.
upstairs. Oh,
I must have missed the sign as I drove by.
would you like a donut or a?
Or you can join us.
Let me have ideas for the door.
Yeah, you and me both, buddy. So Peter, would you like a juice or something? We have Timbits, we have,
Спасибо, Tokinia.
as you're passing through, see, you're a member of you're welcome to our meeting.
Yeah.
This is where we hang out every Monday night.
That's okay. I don't wanna hang out. I wanna sing.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you betcha. Всего доброго.
Yeah, you're welcome. So basically what we're doing is that we've got an oil furnace at the Terrace Community Hall. So the idea is that we replace that and we are looking at a heat pump. for the Terry's Community Hall, and that will also help with air conditioning in the summer. So that project's on the go, and there's a new person stepped up to help with that. And again, the people stepping up are approximately what, 20, 30 years younger than us?
It's nice.
Which is a good thing, right? And Eileen I never seen her so happy, running around, hugging everybody. Because we're moving forward, right? The other thing is that we are going to be doing, we also had money allocated for a radon remediation project. So we're waiting for the childcare project to proceed and do that together, and we're not waiting anymore. So we're going to proceed with the radon remediation project. So that is another thing. And again, another person, different person who stepped up to work with the society on that. Fred, who's been, I think his husband, who has been literally the caretaker of the hall and the grounds for
Many years,
40 years,
many
right?
years.
As a helper. Who stepped up and said, I will help you. So again, a different person from the other three, all younger people, younger community members who stepped up. So I thought, this is what we need. And really, looking forward to, the new energy and getting the help, moving these projects forward and accomplishing goals that we set. So I just thought I'd share that.
I
as
just
well.
have an additional one, which was also
Something
news to my
additional.
ears. Yeah. Genevieve, the lady who's had 3 events so far, she
Yep.
does a dispatcho, yoga and healing. That was her intent.
Feeling-
Well, she sent me an email today. She says she has 16 people on Sunday morning. And she says, we're going to have a meeting. We've planned a meeting to see how we go forward with other things,
Perfect. Activities at the hall.
activities at the hall.
What
So,
did I commit $1,000 to? I'm buying something, but I'm buying a grant.
well, I'll get you the
You'll
information.
get me the information, okay, because they said we need these for the yoga workouts or whatever, so I said, fine, we'll do that. So that's good news. The Ready grants, the CBT Ready Grant Program, the meeting will be here downstairs, and that's on April
Is that when the candidates come?
Yeah, and they'll be able to come virtually, and we need the virtual thing set up here for that.
Has it been arranged with the office or?
It's supposed to have been, yeah.
Oh,
They said that we couldn't have it at the Terry Hall because they needed Wi-Fi. So people can, maybe, I don't care, like even if it's on mic,
Taken care of.
it's
yeah.
taken care, if it's not taken care of, we have Wi-Fi here, so we'll figure it out.
So
But
what's the date? on
The
that?
date is April, the CBT ready, April 10th. Is that right? I think that's right. Here's.
So that's a Monday.
No. No, it's a
Or sorry, Wednesday, sorry, yeah,
7
Wednesday.
o'clock, April 10th I have, but I'll email everyone. And it'll be advertised, that's the date I have. I'll double check on that date. That's another thing that's happening. Next thing. The Cascarin District Recreation Commission, the whole commission, is coming to every community hall in Area I. The tentative dates, halls have been booked. So Glade is April 22nd.
I thought that's about something on April the 4th.
Oh, that's another announcement.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do that yet. So,
Wait, sorry now.
yeah, so Glade is April 22nd. Carries is April 23rd. Pass Creek Hall is April 24th. The Brilliant Cultural Center will be April 29th. And then Shrakers Hall hasn't been booked yet, so there's gonna be a booking at Shrakers Hall. So that week and around that week and beyond that week. So what's gonna happen at that meeting, again, this was something that's part of the Castlegarn District Reimagining Recreation. I lobbied very hard for the commission to finally come to Area I and meet with all of our
Well, Andy, can you pass on something for me?
Yep,
Oh,
Ask
upstairs.
them, congratulations for finally coming out after 60 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 60 effing years and they haven't, all they did is take, and take.
So what is the point of
the
this?
point is to hear the voices of our constituents and what recreation means to us and where it should be. Okay, and the key thing is they wanted to rename it, reimagining recreation at the complex. And I fought that really hard. And I said, no, it cannot be reimagining we have a consultant hired to do this work. It's not reimagining recreation at the complex because, that was the focus of Castlegar and Area J. Well, no, we gotta do that at the complex. I says, recreation doesn't just occur at the complex. It occurs throughout Area I. We have trail networks, we have Acres Beach. Like I listed all the amenities over and over. And it was Stuart Horn, our CAO, that got this thing happening, saying, no, you need to look at, talk to the people in Area I. You need to find out what they're thinking. You need to support community halls and the Glade Rec Society and the neighborhood associations in Area I through the Castlegarn District Recreation Services. It was his suggestion that I moved at the Rec Commission meeting, and I tried moving again at board, and it was defeated and was not seconded at the board meeting. But basically, that is proceeding. And on Friday, the government announced the funding for the 68 units and the medical offices to be built in where the Pioneer Arena is. So the city sent a bulletin out on that. I got that today.
So it's gonna be a medical facility?
No, it's gonna be mixed housing. And then that's where all the docs are gonna be working. They're closing all their clinics and they'll all be working. It'll be a medical, center of campus of care. That's what they call them. So basically, that announcement was made on Friday, and that's a really big deal. So now, and I know how intense the pressure is from the city of Castlegar, particularly to replace the Pioneer, to have a plan to replace that. So that's why the focus was reimagining recreation at the complex, but it's pretty much, looking at a second sheet of ice at the complex. And I'm not gonna talk about when I bring up, well, if we really need a second sheet of ice, which is not the priority, actually, it was a fitness center expansion, which was the priority in the recreation master plan. What happened was we have been talking about Campbell Field. We'll have 8 acres at Campbell Field that the regional district owns. And we have been talking about what can we do there, working together with City Castlegar, Area I, J, H, E, F, City of Nelson. And when you have all of those players on side, when you need to build something, it's pennies on the dollar. When you do it yourself, it's cost a fortune. So if we really need something, then why aren't we working together? And so these are things that we'll talk about when they come out visit us in our community halls. So that's, and then I announced as part of that the government funding. And then I have one more on April 4th. It's April 4th booked, but that's a tentative booking.
No, that's, I talked to them.
No, I know, but I talked to,
And there's one on the following 2 weeks, I think.
so we're,
April the 4th, they have the hall. from
Okay.
5.
and then they booked it, the staff booked it again 2 weeks later?
Yeah, I think so, on the
Okay.
27th or something. like
Okay, so what this is that there is now a proposal for the upgrades to Glade Regional Park. And all of the we've been working on this for a very long time. Again, Glade Regional Park. The only reason we have the boat launch there, which is the only access to the Brilliant Head Pond and the Kootenai River between Castlegar and
Correct.
South Slocan.
actually, all the way to Taggart Beach.
I don't know, but
No, there's a down there.
there's dams there.
No, but that's the only that's the only access to the Kootenai River for emergency purposes or anything on the head pond, right? But the next access is Taggart Beach to the Kootenai River. So basically, and the only reason we have what we have there is because of the Brilliant Expansion Project. That was one of the things that the committee of the day said, okay, well, we need to put a dock and upgrade the boat launch in Glade. So the proposal will be rolled out by staff. There's been a lot of work put into this, and CBT's funding. No, hold on a second. Columbia Power Corporation is funding. We have legacy funding, and I actually was going to provide a community works grant to pay for all of it except for the legacy grant, and then I pulled that grant and I says, time for the rec commission to pay for something. Right? So then they got upset at me because I said, why am I paying 100% of the cost or, 80% of the cost when this is a regional park? So the city should be paying, Jay should be paying, and Kirk Duff was on the commission at that point, and Bergen, Price, and they agreed.
So what's on April 4th?
That's the Glade Regional Park upgrade meeting
Upgrade.
with the Glade.
That's gonna be April the 4th day.
Yeah, that's what's booked right now
The Glade Hall?
at the Glade Hall. And what we're sorting out right now is making sure that 100% of the funding for it is in place. And I've asked staff to go back to Columbia Power Corporation because we're gonna need a little bit more money than what we've got budgeted right now. And basically, we'll see where that works out.
So what are the proposals of the upgrade?
That'll be,
Oh, I see.
they're gonna roll it out. I don't wanna, I have them,
Okay.
but I want staff to flesh them out, and then they will, the community, it's disrespectful for me to share
Oh,
what we have. We said we'd come back to the community and the community would see it, right? So that's what we'll be doing, and the community will tell us, if it's what they want. And then one last thing, I think I got everything. Oh yeah, really big thing. Today had a really heavy meeting with Rogers on cell towers for Pass Creek and Crescent Valley. And in 2021, we had some really horrible incidents happen in 21 and earlier, where we had accidents in the creek, vehicle upside down, people trapped in the vehicle, and the staff sergeant, Laurel Matthews, was retired, and she lives on Winter Road. And she was running from the creek, and her house is up in the hill, running from the house up to her hill, up from her house down to the creek, no cell service. And she went back and forth with 911 to get some, get emergency care and to save these people. That is one of 10 incidents that have occurred. The Pass Creek Fire Department has been, their sat lines used to go down where they were deaf. They have satellite communication, and it used to go down. They could not communicate in emergencies, and that came out in 2012. The fire department, the RCMP, all agencies have been saying, like we've had other things happen. We have wildfire issues and everything else where there's no communication possible whatsoever. So what we have been looking at is that, so what can we do? How can we look at this? So Rogers was going through an acquisition of Shaw. And we said to them, could you look at, Pass Creek, Crescent Valley? Because one of your biggest platforms that you're presenting to the CRTC is connectivity, emergency services for rural communities, safety, economic development. We also have people living in these areas that need really, decent connectivity. And everyone's getting it. Like the whole Slocan Valley, there's a fiber optic line all the way from South Slocan all the way to Nakusp that's been put in the ground. Like $30 million worth of infrastructure. And it says, where's our fiber optic cable? And stringing fiber optic through Pass Creek is possible, but you've still got the last mile issues to deal with. So in 2021, we issued a press release. And this is jointly RDCK, Rogers, who else? Oh, Katrine Conroy. And basically we said they committed $2 million to build 2 cell towers, one in Pass Creek, one in Crescent Valley. We understood that there'd have to be a lot of consultation with community and everything else once they had a proposal and then we'd see what the community said, about whether this goes or not. But the key thing is at least we are looking at this. And right now there's more and more of a push to have cell service like on Highway 3A and the Blueberry Paulson on all the passes to have cell service for emergency purposes. It's a real big push and slowly happening. And so that people are not, if you go off the road or something, like you remember Joyce Jemiah's sister, what happened to her? She left the Christina Lake, like everybody went to Christina Lake for whatever. Camp out. And she decided to come home early. Well, she went off the road and they couldn't find her for 3 days. And then her dad found her and she was still alive, but she died. And she was like, I don't know how old. Young. Very young. And we have story after story like that of things that have happened where, in the modern area here, if you had cell service, at least if a person's able, now we have OnStar, we have all these things. So we know there'll be people who are opposed to this. We know that, but we're going to try and work together and gauge the level of community support. If the community doesn't want it, at least we've done our home. And we have presented an option. So
once there's a proposal, there's required public.
Oh yeah, there's required public meetings, but even without that, I told them today, I said, look, we're not doing any community meetings until you guys are ready with something. And you've been working on this since 2021 and we've got nothing. Okay. And we have all these, here's all my emails. And so what they're doing right now is they're actually building a tower in Castlegar, right in downtown Castlegar. And so I said, well, now you're building a tower in Castlegar. So is there any way that you can have a sight line up to Pass Creek, way up away from anyone, right? And where at least you could look at that. And we came up with a really interesting idea today. And it's Columbia Basin Trust, this Columbia Basin Broadband Corporation. And we said, why doesn't the tower go on their land, downtown, on their building? They're the ones that are advocating for this. And then we came up with another really good idea. I says, I'll tell you what, I would kick in some money to see the world's most beautiful cell tower.
Where,
And
in Pass Creek?
no,
And
right at the
they can
CBT
trust-
site.
Oh, okay.
And you know what I thought of? I says, why don't we do like a giant Douglas fir? And CBT's motto is growing together. And then we have a beautiful.
Usually when
sculpture.
they make them look like a tree, they put them in forest. So
No, this would be a giant Douglas fir. It would have all the antennas hidden, like they would be like tree branches.
They can decorate it.
Decorated at Christmas,
Okay.
and every event that ever happens we recognize, be different lighting on it, right? So it'd be National Day, you know, whatever the day is, we could change the lighting on it. And I'll tell you, they were chuckling, but guess what? It's not a joke.
So are they moving forward now with the Pass Creek Crystal?
Minute this morning, they said 1.4. That's not what you said. It was $2 million, and not 1.4. And so bottom line is that at least we're getting them, and we said, you used us at the CRTC, at communities like ours, where you promised that if this merger was allowed to proceed, that connectivity in rural communities would increase. Roger's commitment would be, blah, 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 you get it. So what happened is that today I had the folks that are in charge of this in a meeting. Walter was on it as well. He's not 100% right now. And I asked for the meeting, and I says, I'm ready to write a letter to the editor. I'm ready to invite the media to basically, I just says, let's do a release, joint media release on why this isn't happening. Why you don't even have a proposal for the community to look at. So let's just say that was, and it ended on a very positive note. They made big promises. And
Against.
no, I says, because I said I will write a letter to the editor. No problem. And I'll just say, Betsy, please publish this, because this is, don't like it when, and I says, the Minister of Finance and the person in charge of CBT lives in Pass Creek, between conflict.
anything else on your list?
Lots more, but those were the things that I thought were the highlights of what I should share with the APHC.
Okay.
Any questions on any of those?
Have any questions?
Thank you.
Deb, do you have any questions for Director Davidoff on his update? Nope. If you do, just you can unmute or just put in chat. I'll pay attention. Okay.
Thank you. So please, donuts and stuff, there's nobody's taking anything. You're on a diet? Not when you come to these meetings. Oh, do you have any napkins?
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
go
gonna
grab
get some
some.
napkins, yeah. So there you go.
Okay, now we're going to the plan.
Sorry.
We'll just wait for Mars. So what we did is we brought the maps, and then we can use those tables, there's map tables. When we refer to, it was good, Marcia can do this without Mars. So what we did at our last meeting, we got the 30,000 foot,
Everyone was here.
Everyone is here.
and everyone was here.
We remember.
Yeah, but you get it, but I'm just saying, we go from 30,000 feet, now we go to ground level, and we actually start going through the document, right?
I brought a copy for Andy. Does anyone else need an extra? There's one extra. Does anyone else? Eileen? Yeah.
I forced it.
Eileen,
Yours is right there, Eileen.
Okay, it's the same
It's the
one
same.
from last time.
Yeah. I just, in case someone forgot theirs.
Forced them to make some for me.
No, it's all.
No, no,
It's the
that's,
same one as
it's
the
the
same-
same one, yeah. It's just some people, just in case there was new people here, I printed an extra in case we needed it.
No, that's good.
So the way we've done this before is that we actually flip pages and go right through the whole thing. Is that okay, Anna?
So this is what I did recently with the planning department to go through this, and I think it worked really well. Is we went section by
Section
section.
by
There's 6 sections in the OCP, so we broke it into 6 chunks. At the beginning of each chunk, I'll just give a quick overview of what the purpose of that chunk is and how it works. And then we can dive into any comments you have about it. And all I'll say is there's an hour and 20 minutes left approximately. You guys sound like you have a very busy April. So you might not want to put another meeting on your agenda for then. So let's just see how far we can get today and make sure we give space for everyone to give their feedback. Does that work for the group?
Yep.
Okay, so the first chunk we have is the
Can
introduction.
we start with the title, please?
Sure.
Yeah, so we spoke about the name of our community, and the consensus last time was pretty clear that it'll be electoral area I Sentinel Mountain will be the name of our community, of our area. But what I noticed going through the plan is that we don't refer, so even in bylaw 2821, it says is bylaw applicable to electoral area I. So at what point do we start including the name in the official community plan and in the enabling bylaw? When do we refer to this, and how do we formalize the name in the bylaw and in the OCP?
Technically, the name is electoral area I, but in the bylaw, we can define the area as area I, which is what it is now. Or it could be, we could just replace that with Sentinel Mountain, or we could just call it the plan area.
Well, the way I've seen it in other.
Right now, it just says area I.
Yeah, so for example, if we look at bylaw number 2821, which is the next page,
Yeah.
first page. So there it says this bylaw is applicable to electoral area I. Is it appropriate there to put Sentinel Mountain in brackets? Or do we?
In the text of the plan, I would be more than willing to switch it in this part because this is like the legal
Yes.
part. I'd probably keep it electoral area I.
Could you check to see if we have to, if we're gonna officially use Sentinel Mountain as a name, do we have to legally then change our name from electoral area I? Is that, like, I don't know how it works, because I see it happening in electoral area after electoral area, like, the area in RDKB here is Glory Mountain, right?
Yeah.
So we have, every area is starting to actually have an identifier because there are electoral area Is all over the province. But I just want to, how do we formalize this? So maybe it's a question.
Yeah,
to
and I
take
think
back.
in the plan, we can do that ourselves, but I think in the cover bylaw, I think we probably have to call it electoral.
Yeah, and this is why on page 2, I was wondering, this bylaw may be cited as electoral. It's area I, doesn't even say electoral area I, official community plan bylaw. And it doesn't even say electoral area, which is technically our legal name. So that's just a question for staff. Okay,
So yeah, what Director Davidoff has talked about is the cover bylaw, which is where we get all our legalese, whereas, and that's where we'll spell out the powers that we have to create this bylaw and kind of that formal language around it, that we've done the proper consultation. And it kind of sets that up. Okay,
so now we're moving to page,
can we go to the introduction now, page 1?
okay, so
Did you have something in?
in the list of schedules,
Yeah,
when I looked at the acronyms used in this document, did we have like environmentally sensitive? There's riparian protection development permit area. And I was just a little confused about whether we had environmentally sensitive, like I didn't see all the acronyms in the acronym.
well, the term environmentally sensitive area is used in the bylaw, but I never abbreviated as an acronym.
You didn't, that's why the
That's-
acronym doesn't show up.
That's
That,
right.
no, that explains it. Thank you.
Tried not to use
Yeah.
too many acronyms.
Okay, and then on page, Roman numerals, small Roman numeral 3,
Yeah,
future land use, when we looked at RV village residential,
yeah.
so is that RV or VR? Or,
So there's actually a comment the planning department too, is they're concerned that the abbreviation RV might confuse people. So they
okay.
said, can we call it like multi-unit or something? Well, I don't know, we don't have a good name for it, but they also were like, I feel like RV is not a good abbreviation because people are gonna think RVs.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Okay,
I don't
so-
have a replacement name for it. You can suggest one to me, but know that that was something they flagged too, that they're like, we don't like that
can you
acronym.
explain to the group what village residential is?
Can I do that when we get to that section?
Okay, so then we can park this.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing, when it came to industrial, just having M, we used to have light industrial and heavy industrial. But we had different Ms, so are we gonna have?
That's in the zoning bylaw.
That's in the zoning.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but in our mapping, we're just gonna have industrial.
In our, yeah, we just call it industrial. And then in our zoning bylaw, like, and that's how it is right now. Future land use designation says industrial, and then zoning breaks it down further from M1 to M4, going from light industrial to
Okay.
heavy industrial.
So that helps me a lot, because now I understand that the M zone in the mapping.
Yeah.
Will be just all the industrial lands, and that will be M1 to M4.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and you can think of commercial being the same, how there's just one commercial future land use designation, but when we implement the zoning, we'll parse that out to, there's neighborhood commercial, there could be not so much an area, I've been other areas like tourism, commercial, larger scale commercial, so the zoning can tease the difference between those areas out, but this map is simpler, it's just saying, these are the commercial lands, these are the industrial lands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that help others as well? Because hopefully, I'm not the only one that is confused by some stuff, right? And I just want to make it really clear what it is we're doing. And then in the sentence at the top of the page where it says the development of land within electoral area I, is this where we start using?
That's where we can change.
Electoral
to
I,
Sentinel Mount.
Sentinel Mount,
Yep.
so in brackets.
I can literally just do a control F and replace
Done,
it.
and I won't bring it up again, okay, because I think we should start recognizing it that way.
Brand recognition,
Pardon?
brand recognition.
Well, it's honoring the name that our community may select for us. And that's big. Like,
Good name.
that's not a little, and you see from the mapping, that's what it is. We looked last time, right? So, okay,
And just to clarify, we'll speak to it more when we get to section 4, but the community has said what kind of industrial, what kind of commercial they want to see. And so we spell that out later in the policies.
Yeah.
We want to see commercial that serves, the neighborhood where you could grab milk and eggs, but we don't want to see malls or something like that. So it is laid out in the OCP, it's not just a carte blanche commercial. There's policies about what kind of commercial would be appropriate.
so this is what I mean by deep diving, and we've done this before into the plan. And this is the time to do it, because once it rolls out, this is the face of our work that we've been doing since 2016.
Anything else on the preamble?
No, actually, we're good.
How about the rest of the group? Okay,
And I was gonna email you all this, I actually prepared. And then I said, no, because I may not be the only one
Mhm.
with these questions. And I think it's important for the APC and our guests and people who have been assisting us with this process to understand how an OCP document works, what it should look like. And then if, for future, you know what I'm getting at here. So it should be a learning experience, not just to run through, right? We should learn from this experience, and it's good. I hope it's good for you and all of you. Andy's been there before. Kelly, were you there in 95? No, but Andy's been through this before, and
It's still French for me.
It's so fresh. Right.
Reg.
French. Like you said, fresh. See, it was French then and French now.
Yeah.
Well, some of us love this stuff, so.
Really do that deep dive. So the things you pull out of this is something that I would not pick up on.
That's
So
right.
thank you for
Yeah.
the finer details. Like, we've already done a lot of the rough cuts, like, you know, just the kind of plans by our areas based on our community chats, right? But you're into the fine arts, so we'll just eat
Well,
our
it's-
mountains and donuts here.
And bear with me.
But don't be shy if you have a question.
No,
There's
No.
no dumb questions.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Nothing nothing that I'm not willing to explain or go further into detail, for sure. And yeah, 1995, I was in grade 1, so time for a new OC. Okay,
You're not motivating this bunch around the
Yeah.
table here.
so down in here now, how,
so I'm just,
you wanna do the introduction and then I could come back with my nitpicky stuff?
I'm gonna do the introduction.
Yeah.
I'll look to them, because I'll know you have something, so I'll look to them,
You get to go.
and then you can go last.
Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna enjoy my Pepsi.
So the introduction is really that. It's the intro, it's laying out the terms of the OCP. So you have the first section about the official community plan, what it is, the plan, administration and scope, how we can use it, relationship to other plans and policies. I included that because I think there's so much happening at the regional district, and the OCP is kind of the umbrella where all these special projects come to rest under. So we've included that because I think it just really speaks to all the channels that informed this plan. And then one of the most important channels that inform this plan is public engagement. So that's just a really quick and dirty summary of that is in the document. Of course, we have staff reports and engagement summaries for the public record that go into a deeper dive. But just for the sake of inside the plan itself, we just have a really high level overview of what the engagement process was. Any questions or feedback? I know from anyone before we.
I think it's great that you included the other processes, because at our community meeting in Foss Creek, there was some confusion with people coming, thinking it was something different, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's good. The clearer you can make the document, the better.
Cool, thank you. Okay, lay it on me.
It's not heavy. So on page 2, 1.4,
2.
public engagement. And there in that first paragraph, it says groups, businesses, rights holders. So it's capitalized R and H. And should that be lowercase and a hyphen?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then after the Area I Advisory Planning and the Heritage Commission, and could we have there added, Heritage Commission and advisory group? Cause that's what Lisa and
Sure.
Marcy and Eileen are here to do.
Yep, I think that's.
They're getting better. Fire.
They sounded good a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no, well, they're getting closer to performance. They're not stopping us off.
Anything else in that section, Andy, for you?
I think we're good to move on to the next section.
Sure, that doesn't seem like you.
I'm thinking of.
Let's go with it.
Dana, take it and take what you
Okay, check mark by that.
Run.
I mean, that is the simplest section, so. Number 2, the context for planning. So this is setting up the data or the
Page 4.
information.
Page 4.
Yeah.
Right, we're on.
Page 4, yes.
Yeah.
So this, like I said, this is really setting up the context, it's laying out the data that we have that helped inform the making of this plan. So we have the local context, which starts with the natural history, First Peoples history, and early settlements. Then we go into Area I today, which is mostly relevant demographic data from Stats Canada. Then we go into growth projections and housing needs. And so these come from our our housing needs reports, which was most recently done in 2020, and it's a must to include this in your OCP. And then the last one, 2.5, is the community theme. So we have the context of what's happening in Area I, and then the last section, what did the community tell us is really important about what's happening in Area I that we need to address with this plan. So that's section 2. And let's just go in order. Any comments you have, we can go from there. Easier for me if I did it like this.
And again, for the benefit of our public here, this is again, you see how the work proceeds. This could all change after we go to the public process. This is a draft that we're getting ready to take to the public at the first meeting, and then there'll be public hearings. And
Similar to the last one that we had here.
no, these are formal public hearings on the OCP.
We'll bring it back to the public before the public.
Oh, yeah,
hearing. You'll
yeah,
get a chance.
there'll be public meetings, and then we do all the changes that we need to do. And then we go to public hearings to actually, which is a formal process we have to follow before we adopt this.
Yeah.
So there's a
So-
lot of opportunity for input and proposals for changes, so that's coming. But
Yeah,
this
so this
is,
group
this is-
will vet, okay, this draft is ready for the public to start to provide
Yeah.
their comments on. And then we'll come back to the communities, share the draft, get feedback.
Yep.
And, because we don't want to wait till the public hearing to get feedback. Hopefully by then we've heard it, because it's, yeah.
And these niggly things, it's nice to get them out of the way because people will notice them, that really do deep dives into these documents, and we need to come up with something that is clean. So,
Okay,
you're
section,
supposed to ask them if anybody would have any questions.
No, I don't have.
yeah, anyone? You'll see a note, sorry, I should say, under the first people's, I still don't have that wording, but it is coming, so. You can still consider that section kind of a placeholder until we hear back from them. And I checked in and I should hear from them soon, so. Andy, would you like to go ahead?
I actually have a few,
Yes,
page 4.
okay,
So the first line in 2.0. Updated OCP broad goals, objectives, and policies. So when you're capitalizing that, is that a section that we should be referring to?
oh, we can make them lowercase.
Yeah, so either that is a name of a section or that's lowercase. The next paragraph, 2.1, local context. So we have never had Gibson Creek identified in our whole time that I've been involved with Area I, Advisory Planning Commission or other work. Andy, in your
No, I never.
40 years, never heard
I
of
never
Gibson
heard
Creek.
about that.
I assume that you must have added it. So
No,
we
I
can
think
just.
it may have been added at the past Creek meeting.
Oh, okay,
And when I looked at the mapping actually has
Never
Gibson
heard about
Creek.
that. It's-
And the other thing is that Gibson School, they had their own school there. And so what happens is that when I delved into the history of this, I have no problem honoring that we do have a community of Gibson Creek in our OCP. But what we missed here is we've got Waken subdivision, but we don't have Playmore Junction West, which we've always had in our OCP.
Locally known as Webb subdivision.
Web subdivision,
Yes.
yeah. And then we've got Waken subdivision and Web subdivision, and it's like literally across the road from each other, but Waken Improvement District is the legal entity that governs what happens in the Waken subdivision. So they have their own level of people don't like to refer to it as a level of government, but when you have an improvement district, improvement districts have authority under the Local Government Act. And the key thing is that we had a real battle royale happen there when Tech sold the right of way, and then the Tech right of way was not covered by VID rules. And so we had developers come in digging wells there, doing any, all kinds of things. And Boykin Improvement District was powerless. So we had a real battle there, that we had to deal with.
So I would say you guys are the experts. Do you want Gibson Creek to stay? Would people relate to it, or do you want it to go out?
Personally,
and
I
call
think
Gibson
it's,
Creek?
I think it's special. I don't have a problem with it, but what
If
does
it's
everyone?
an area I and it's there.
Marcy, it's, what
Your,
Well,
Do people call it?
yeah, we do, but I've been, like, I don't know, a good question for you guys. Do you even know where that is and the
Gibson Creek?
significance? Like, there was a schoolhouse there and things like that. So as
About it.
old timers, when we say Gibson School or
Oh,
Gibson Creek,
whereabouts
we,
was it?
so.
Well, I know there's Lower Gibson Road, or Lower Gibson, is that it, right, by a set of mailboxes, and you would go up
You-
and there's a little
Where?
community
Where?
up there.
Do you know Bill Sloan? Like,
John
Where
Paul-
Marcy lives?
Paulson
No,
up there?
not that. Before
no,
suicide.
old John,
Yeah.
like Grandpa
Before
John,
suicide.
he's gone now, right? That John?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
so
I think, I
run over,
Leroy Block.
Yeah, I know it is.
yeah, so,
And then it's
Is he live
suicide.
yeah, Leroy,
Yeah,
it's
before
so
suicide,
Leroy,
yeah.
where the mailboxes are, that's where Leroy is and
Yeah.
all that, it's the next road over. Just down the road, I think, no, there might be a mailbox at the end of that one too, I can't remember. And then you shoot up and that's where Sloan's live, and Sloan's actually bought the schoolhouse property, so. Yeah.
That's-
There's your Pass Creek.
I heard the Gibson, but I didn't know where to look for it.
Not on the lower mainland, or not in the. Vancouver
Yeah,
Island.
right, it's not on the, yeah, Molly's Reach.
Well, there's you, Sunshine Coast.
Bruno Jerusi.
So,
Beach Grove, yeah.
Records every day, Colin watches it.
and Relic, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
But yes.
So,
So
question to that. If we're identifying places.
Yep.
What do you identify the place, Shiracres Goose Creek Road and Firpila and where we live?
Glade Central.
But it's not marked. It's not noted on here.
Yeah,
This is
we do have
Glade.
Glade. We always refer to Glade across the river as Glade.
Yes.
And everything on this side of the river as Glade Central.
Yeah, Glade Center
Central.
on the west side, on the.
Yeah, on the
yeah,
west.
On the west side.
Yeah, across on this side of the river.
Yeah.
Is Glade Central. That's what it's
So
called.
this is where, when people ask me, where do you live? I don't live in Terry's.
Nope,
And I don't live in Glade.
nope. You live in Glade Central.
I live in Glade Central.
So then add Glade, should we add Glade Central?
Well, I think
Because
so,
we
because
use-
there's the whole Firpila area and then the Shiracres Goose Creek Road. There's families all along
That's
there
all
too.
Glade Central.
Oh.
Yeah. And then we actually have upper and lower Shiracres, believe it or not.
I don't know if I'm going.
But I'm just saying, we don't have to go there, but I just want, like, the Chair Watson talks about the 25 communities in Area D. And some of them are postage stamp, like you're talking about 20 people living there.
Yeah.
But it's still a distinct community. So what we have Brilliant, we have, start going up Pass Creek Road, we have, Raspberry Village is not Area I, even though Raspberry Village residents call me all the time on any issue dealing with Pass Creek with the road, but they're not in Area I. And we do have Robert, believe it, there's Raspberry Village and Strawberry Village, two different villages that used to be. But the key thing is that as let's just go around Area I, so we have Brilliant, and then we got Pass Creek.
Yep.
And Pass Creek, Area I doesn't start until you actually start going up the hill. Okay, where Bill, Dominion's places, that's actually where Area I starts. And then we have the bridge that goes to Mountain View Ridge. Mountain View Ridge is not Area I, it's Area I Fire Protection Area. It is not Area I, it's Area J. So people confuse that, and all the Mountain View Ridge people call me when there are issues because, and the Pass Creek Fire Department is constantly approaching me and we're dealing with issues in, you know, and it's a big subdivision, huge up there. And lots more growth potential, huge growth potential, because there's a lot more lots there. No dedicated roadway to ministry, private roadway, private bridge, none of it's ministry.
That's that bridge that goes across the.
It turns left, right, as soon as you get top of the, top of the hill. So again, we don't refer to that, but it is in our fire protection area. And now we have first thing would be Gibson Creek. On the right-hand side, that would be the first thing that we would, community that we would hit. And then we've got Pass Creek proper, and then, people think contact means this is the new settlement area. No. Our boundary is just before that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of cuts across. What's really interesting, all of the water connections for people in Cristova, where it comes off Sentinel Mountain, all of their waterworks are in Area I. They're not in Area H. So we get calls on that. As we go around Sentinel Mountain, then we hit Webb Road and Boykin Subdivision. So that is Boykin Subdivision and Playmore Junction West, which is also known as the Webb Road Subdivision. And then we keep going on the right-hand side of the road, going to Cascar, we have Upper Shore Acres and we have Lower Shore Acres, but we don't refer to them as that in our plan. And then we cross the bridge and we are in Glade Central. We go across the ferry and we're in Glade. Then we come back and we on the highway and then we hit Terrace.
And Blade Center.
So Glade Center already said.
See, because then that
Okay,
area,
everyone is on the map except for Glade Central, so we'll just add.
because basically Glade Central then would be just as soon as you cross the bridge and like where Philippoffs used to live up,
All of that.
All of that,
all of that.
because that's all a 399
Mhm.
phone exchange.
No, I understand that. So this is what I'm saying is that, you know, that area, that catchment area where I live and then all the
Yep.
way up to the bridge somehow was never really identified.
No, it was always identified, always referred to, anytime I referred to
Okay.
it, was always Glade Center, Glade
Central.
Central,
Central.
not center.
Mhm.
And always, ever since 95, and
Okay.
previously, we always knew it as that. It just never was identified in the OCP as that.
Well,
And
I
we
think
should,
it should be.
yeah. And then, does everybody know where the cutoff is between Glade Center and Terry's?
Wouldn't it be Janissa Road?
That's what we think it is. But it used to be by the railway signs. Where the stations were. There was a Terry station, there was a Thrum station, you get the,
And there was a Glade.
So
there was a Glades.
because this is a nuance to everyone, we're not gonna put boundaries on the map.
No,
We're just gonna put labels.
No, but I think it's important for the people who are doing the planning, guiding the document, to understand our area and where things are. And then we hit Thrums. Okay, and then we hit, after Thrums, we hit City of Castlegar. Because City of Castlegar, in their boundary expansion, actually took in the Brilliant Dam and everything around that. And I had a complaint about somebody went past Berrigan Memorial Park, you know, to the viewpoint overlooking the dams. And they're saying, and people are dumping garbage, dumping asphalt shingles, truckloads, dump truckloads, dumping everything. And I get a call from the city of Castlegar saying, you clean it up, Andy. And I looked at the mapping and I phoned him back, not my area. It's
You get
city
text.
of Castlegar area. And they got egg on their face, but they're phoning me, provide a grant, clean it up, do whatever. And I
See,
says,
they failed to make the thing so narrow that.
I saw that, I went and I looked and I had to blow it up on my computer. I says, oh, okay, City Castlegar, don't you phone me about this. I still provided a grant to help clean it up, but the bottom line is that that was not our area. And
Okay.
then we're back in Brilliant again, so thank you. So here we go.
Okay.
So,
Now, there, and then 2.1.1 natural history, where it says development in Area I APHC, the valley bottoms. The name of the mountain is not Mount Sentinel, it's Sentinel Mountain. That's the legal
Sentinel-
name of the mountain.
okay.
Okay, so we changed that. And then I am really anxiously awaiting the First Peoples contribution, because this would be controversial.
Yeah, like I didn't spend much time on it because
No,
they're
and
gonna provide me with the wording.
And I think it'd be better if, like, are we not rolling out the plan until we get that?
Yeah, that's not gonna be what holds us up. I should. get
Okay,
it
but
soon.
then we should remove this, because if we're gonna have this summary, it's a white settler version of what the First Nations.
Right, which is why I reached out to the First Nations to see if they'd like to draft their own.
Yeah, and I think having this here, I read it and I just kind of cringed. I says, okay, we can't have this because this is not their wording.
Yeah, you're making mountains and molehills. There's.
No, but
It's already,
I'm just saying.
no
you're not-
draft will have this in it. It's just.
Okay, that's all I'm, because I did not know until today that this could be, that you were okay excluding.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Consider this a placeholder as wording is being provided by local
Perfect.
First Nation.
And if it doesn't come when we're ready to roll out, are we being disrespectful of First Nations? Because under the TRC recommendations, we're supposed to work with First Nations, particularly when it comes to official community plans.
Yeah, I would wait for them, but I don't think that that's what's gonna hold up the next stage.
Okay, so when's the last time we connected with First Nations, and who are we speaking with?
We're speaking with the Sinaiaks, the Okanagan Nation Alliance, and those are the two big ones for this area. Shuswap have some subclaim to this area, and Tana have some as well. So we've included them as well. But the main First Nations that have the most claim to this area are Sinaiaks and the ONA.
Okay, so right now we are holding up a public hearing on a land use application because of the.
They're not the ones holding it up. It's not, I'm just waiting on them,
It's a
but
different
it's not the thing that's holding it.
Okay.
We still have to get through your review.
No, I'm not talking about the OCP. I'm saying we have a rezoning application that was supposed to go to public hearing that we're
Oh, I
holding
see.
up because of the Penticton Indian Band wants to do an archaeological assessment.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't have any.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm really sensitive about this. I also deal with it in the school district. And we are looking at everything that we do. And we don't have we don't have, like a band in the area, like we don't have the Akanuki, we don't have
Yeah, that
anything.
makes it hard.
It makes it really hard
Yeah.
for us because then who do we connect with? Who do we bring
Yeah,
into our school?
It's actually really nice having the Sinaiaks office in Nelson now. Same as this group, I've brought maps and the draft plan to them and sat around their table and gone over it like this with the Sinaiaks. So it's actually been helpful. And I've done the same with the ONA.
Okay. So 2.1.3, again, here, the reference that the Columbia River is an important trade route that passed through Sinaiaks territory. And here I'm looking at the Desertol decision, the Supreme Court of Canada decision, and who actually adopted a map that says that our area is pretty much Lower Arrow Lakes, and it wasn't referenced as Sinaiaks. And Lower Arrow Lakes was part of the Colville Confederated tribes. And they're the ones that have set up the office in Nelson. And even though we call it the Sinaiaks office, it is actually the Colville Confederated tribes that set up that office and staff it and pay for it.
that'd be like their legal name versus their traditional name.
Okay, so then when we reference Sinaiic's territory here,
Kind of like how we don't say Lower Kootenai Band, although that's their name, we say Yakanuki because.
could we
it's the
say
First
here
Nations.
First Nations territory instead of Sinaiic's territory?
Sure, we
Okay.
can.
Thanks. And then it says the span of Columbia and Kootenai Railway in Pass Creek. So again, I just circled Pass Creek and the railway from nowhere to nowhere. Like, I'm missing something here.
Can you explain to me where you are?
Yeah, in the middle of the page. It says this span of Columbia and Kootenai Railway in Pass Creek was known as the railway from nowhere to nowhere. And I'm going like, what section of railway are we referring to? Because I do not know of a railway that ran through Pass Creek.
No, there isn't.
There isn't.
Mars?
I've never,
Any-
never heard.
I think you should ask. Oh, honestly, like, I remember as a kid hearing trains, right?
No.
So,
Okay,
but that.
but you have an issue with hearing things.
Yes.
Sorry, Mars, I couldn't, you
Trucks and all
walked
my
into that,
adventures.
like, you left me an opening like that.
It's kind of funny, but I mean, obviously you're hearing the trains going through Verdant or whatever on the horns, but,
Yeah.
but as a kid.
Still do occasionally.
Oh, do you still, yeah, okay, so it's not just me, it's Bill too, so.
So I'm saying is that I don't know where this came from. It didn't come from any of us.
No, it came from the report that was prepared as part of the Community Heritage Register.
Okay, so
So I
this
can
here,
just ask like the people that prepared it.
yeah,
but-
that is a pretty, I've heard of the railway from nowhere to nowhere, but I don't know where it ran and where it didn't run.
Nobody did.
Nobody. Like, you understand, like, we're saying that in our OCP, and we're talking about early settlement, and then we're saying this and.
Yeah,
when
we can
don't
just
know-
double check with her.
But Andy, if you think about it, like when the first settlers were coming into Old Mountain to
Yeah.
the Silver King.
Yeah.
Their transport route was to come down the Arrow Lakes from Revelstoke to Sprott's Landing.
Yeah.
Travel through Pass Creek.
Yeah.
Cross at Ward's Ferry and then hump their way up to the Silver King mine.
Oh,
That was the route.
that was the route.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we don't.
I don't think there was a railway there, but that was the route the miners took.
So if we don't understand this, if the APHC and the we don't understand this, then we should check it out.
Yep, for sure.
Okay?
Okay.
The next one is the statement about the Doukhobor settlement. And I've looked at this, and those two paragraphs are, I don't think they do justice to the number of people that moved here. And I have looked at other things, and I've got some options
Sure.
that I would like to circulate.
Sure. Again, yeah, this comes from the Community Heritage Register report. So if you have other sources you want me to look at, you can just
Yeah.
send them to me.
And I think that Heritage Register report was written by someone who was a consultant, but perhaps not of Doukhobor background.
No, they're not of Doukhobor background.
Okay.
They were written by heritage professionals.
Right, so basically, those two paragraphs will be more fleshed out.
Yep.
Okay. And then Area I today,
Can we just stop there? For those first couple sections, did anyone else have anything they wanted to talk about? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna just be brave and say I'm not a real huge fan of the global climate change emergent themes. I haven't been here for all of these meetings, so I'm not trying to be disingenuous, but I just don't know if emergent themes such as affordable housing and global climate change are on the same footing.
where
Or
are you,
people-
where are you?
Right in the very first paragraph
First paragraph.
Oh, 2.0.
of this area specifically. Like, to me, Area I and what all of the communities that we've talked about, I think affordable housing hits home, but I don't know if global climate change is on the minds of many of well, it's just not on my mind and my neighbor's mind. So that's all I can speak of. It may be on all your minds. And again, I'm not trying to be disparaged because I know this has been since going on for many years. But I think maybe more of like the people that I know in Pass Creek and I've met, I know Marcy, or no, at least I know where she lives. It looks like a lot of us do with less and we do for ourselves and we're self-sufficient and we rely on our neighbors. I don't feel I can make much of a dent in the global climate change, but I sure do reuse a lot of my stuff and I grow my own food. So I identify more with self-sufficiency or food security or neighborly support and community outreach, not global climate change. And that's also because I'm probably, like Andy has said, I'm a little sensitive to that right now because I'm feeling like there's a lot of things happening that are well beyond my control. I'm totally against pollution and I think we should do more with what we have. But I feel, anyway, I don't need to get into that, but I would just, again, I haven't been here for all of these discussions, but that just is a niggle for me.
So Adrian, just so you know, this is the second meeting where we've actually seen the wording of this plan.
Fair enough.
So it's not like we've been looking at this since 2016. What we are obligated to do in an official community plan, there's some regulatory things that we have to address. And that's a piece that as we get into this further, there are going to be some things in there that are going to provoke discussion, and we welcome that. And so the key thing is, what we're doing right now is that statement. It's like when you look at the context for planning, is that I had a big question mark there about is this the official statement of what the context for planning is? It's much broader than that. So that's a piece, again, that's fair comment, right? And when we come out, we could look at that now if we need to tweak it before it rolls out, or we could wait for public feedback.
For sure.
But
It's
it's-
been sitting there and I thought.
But it has
for
not been.
Area I, it seems like, wow, that's a really big undertaking for just
Yeah.
the 3,000 of us. So I just thought
2,670.
it's more meaningful, might be more.
I'm sure our
You know,
carbon
I think-
footprint is tiny
think
compared to.
Yeah, for me being the one that wrote it, I think it's more about how global climate change is affecting your day-to-day life than how you are going to conquer it or make a dent in it. Like maybe your community is not calling it climate change, but I hear all the time you're affected by wildfire and by drought and by those kind of by temperature changes or by the weird winter we've had. So I think more in the context of that type, how climate change is impacting this area more than like how we need to address climate change.
I wonder if it's because again, when you hear global, it's sort of planetary versus local climate change. This document is related to a small area in this big spinning rock, and maybe we should keep it as a reference to our local area.
More localized.
Yeah, instead of global climate change, would local, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but.
I just, to me, I think I wrote more self-sufficiencies and food security. That type of activity
Is a higher
is,
priority.
it's positive to me, as opposed to climate change, that's to me has a negative connotation, right? And I feel sometimes, because I feel like what we're doing up in Pass Creek, we have a small carbon footprint, we do grow our own food, we only commute as little as we have to
I think
town.
they're good emergent themes too, both of those.
Yeah, so I
No, I fully understand.
yeah,
that.
and I believe the climate is always changing. Like we just deal with it. You drive down the road or you don't, right? You have to, like, you just drive to the conditions, right? Like that's, to me, part of living in Pass Creek. And I believe a lot of us grow our own food, right? Or we're learning how to grow our own food, right?
Or they used to.
And you talk about raspberry and strawberry and blueberry, and all of the jam factories. It's like, where's that now? Like, come on, let's build a jam
Oh,
factory.
the sleeve lever was, removed from that equation and then that went away.
So I got lots of jars.
That child labor?
Child labor and other forced labor. But that's my.
Okay, we don't need to put that in there, but that, yeah, I just wrote self-sufficiency for security.
There's something to do with that.
No, thanks for that.
So here, so thank you, Adrian. So basically, that's food for thought, and Dana will take that back. And just, I had a question mark here for a potential tweak, so, but that's, that's something that I knew we would hear from the community, but the important thing we just did, so. And that's gonna be happening for sure when we roll this out. So, anything else, Adrian?
No. that's
Okay.
it, thank you.
Okay, so then we look at 2.2 on page 5. And here I started crunching numbers. And I'm looking at the census documents, and I'm looking at there's some numbers here that when I do my math, I'm not getting the same numbers about our housing needs. I'm not getting our same numbers about a whole bunch of things. So 2.2 on page 5. So the 2021 census says 2607, and I keep saying 2670 all the time, and I'm getting that 7 mixed up, and I shouldn't be. And so our growth has been 4% since 1996. So our median age, but another way of looking at this is 11.7 was 65, 28.9 was 65. So those are really important percentages for what we should be looking at in terms of aging in place and all of those things. I just circled them. These aren't errors. Just circled for interest. And households are changing. So instead of 2 as well, instead of 2, is that fair? Like on page 6, first line, households are changing, comma, 2. Could we say households are changing as well instead of 2?
Sure.
Okay. So again, I circled we went from 1,005 households to 1,130 households. So again, I just circled those as interesting. And there's a lot of people living alone. So that's a big thing for our area. We also have 65% of respondents to, now that 2016 survey was an RDCK survey, not a census.
That's right.
So maybe if we can identify that as an RDCK survey, and that's where we're getting that stat from. So 80% of residents are at least 3rd generation, which is that is really big. A really big thing for me when I read it, and I'm going, wow, 80% of residents are at least 3rd generation. Like that's huge. And I just wrote again, aging in place is when you think about it, is a really big thing for us, because it's already happening. People are aging in place on big acreages, like and some people into their 90s. Like you look at John Kolesnikov, right? Like he lived there, right? When did he, I don't know how old he was when he left the property, right? And that's a monster to look after. So it's a big deal. And then I got something I want to propose here, growth projections.
So now you're on 2.3.
Yeah, I just want to do a quick sort of deviation from this. And an idea to bounce off the APHC. When I first ran for office, I thought the biggest problem we had in Area I.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I thank you for that.
Oh,
Didn't
just,
want you to lose your online audience.
what did it do?
No, my battery's low. I might have to just move the
Oh, yeah,
computer.
do we have a
Cord?
I do, but there's not really any.
Well, we've got a cord somewhere, right, Marcy?
You got people that room over there?
And again,
Isn't there any plugs right along the center wall?
Sorry, no.
No, that's good, good catch. But no, we got cords. We got cords in the room there. We'll get a cord. I just thought of something when I was reading this. And that I want to bounce it off the APHC. Because it's something I want to do. But I'll wait till everyone's done. I'm thinking about doing.
Sure glad you're I'm sure glad you are our director.
Well, you may not be so happy because you're
Wow.
he put this,
At least,
you know what he done, this is what he's done to us for like
at least, you know.
30 years.
Get a 7 up, can they have one of those 7s?
Well, I
Yeah,
think,
but
I think,
Yeah,
I
no,
think we're.
Just one?
Yeah, just one, yeah, one is enough.
Thanks, Bill. That was- yeah.
I think it's a benefit for us in the sense of, Andy has, and I'm just gonna be frank here, Andy has a good gift to gab.
Oh, yeah, you can, BS with the best of them.
No, and that gives him access, just his personality gives him, he's easy to approach. And he has a lot of people that approach him, and he has a lot of people that he can speak to very frankly. So I think that in itself is one thing. But secondly, because he's a school teacher, so when he's doing these edits, he's not only doing it from the perspective of, he's doing it not only perspective from the director, he's doing it from the perspective of a school teacher.
Grading.
no,
Great.
You know, so.
Oh,
No tripping.
tripping.
You know,
All three B.
Marcy, where's the duct tape?
I think we're.
Proper PPE.
Yeah, throw, because if we're looking at mapping later, throw all the tape, all the cord under the, it'll charge by the time we're there.
So anyway, I mean, I just, like,
Eileen, please stop. Okay. Bottom line is, what I am is a technical analytical, I'm a budget wonk, I'm a fiscal conservative, and I think that's coming through quite clear. And I always have been. This is nothing new here that I'm doing. And I've always asked those questions, always made those motions
right.
at the board table. First in with motions on budget reduction, always have done that from the first day I got elected. So the key thing is I'm not doing anything different now than I ever have done. And those of you that have been around me the whole time I've been on the APHC and here, I'm not doing anything different from what I did before, right?
It's new to us,
But it's new to, but it's just my normal.
and you're different from most politicians.
Yeah, different would be a diplomatic way of putting it.
Good way.
Well,
In a good
hopefully
way.
in a good way, yeah. So I'm embarrassed right now. So that's it.
And the other thing. I've known Andrew for a while, so I think the other thing about his background that maybe many of you don't know is Andy had a different, just share a little bit of that, of your.
No, I don't talk about,
No, but
I've got all kinds of things. that
but I know, but
I've
Andy,
educated myself on, so it helps me in my work immensely, and it's better, I like it that I just have training in a whole bunch of areas and all kinds of certifications and things that people don't know a lot about. And so when people start yakking about legal stuff, tax stuff, anything like that, benefits, I got all those certifications. So
You know.
the key thing, and I've got a few degrees and business admin and legal and tax. And so when I speak, when I ask a question, I'm coming from somewhere. So when I talk about stuff, it's nice not to flaunt it.
I know, but I think we have to understand that.
But the people know me really well, understand that. And after a while, people, like in the board office, like Stuart, he knows exactly where I'm coming from, and so they take me seriously.
Not enough of them do it.
Well, but the key thing is that if you start flaunting that, then you're gonna get even more pushback. Well, who the heck are you? You know,
Right, yeah.
You had a new idea you wanted to.
I have a new idea. Okay, here we go.
Sorry.
And And,
I feel like a jerk, but I'm like.
No, you're not.
no, remember, well, that's the chair's job, but the chair's not here, and Brian's always tolerated me, because he just ignores me, so.
Come on, Andy.
He knows better.
No, hey, Andy, do your, because I've got a concern here.
Yeah, so here's the idea. When I first ran for office, I thought the biggest issue that we had to deal with in Area I was potable water. Because we have 100+ water systems, not including private wells. We do have some community water systems on private wells. And we have a potable water issue. We have a whole bunch of people that are raw water people, and that's perfect, fine. But what is happening is that, and the government has backed off. Interior Health has backed off on enforcement during COVID. They're after Glade Irrigation District, they're after Coots Creek water users in a big way. They're after select water systems in Area I.
Is that because of their size?
Because of their size and because we were noticed. And the way Coots Creek got noticed, and that's 43 properties on Coots Creek, 71 licenses, and I'm on that system, is because somebody applied, one of our water users applied for a in-home daycare license. And the first question that they received was they had to have approved potable water. And they needed, so then I got a phone call saying, Andy, how do I show that what water system we have and that it's potable water? I says, well, first of all, we don't even have an operator. And secondly, we're on a permanent boil order. Every system in Area I is on a permanent boil order right now, except for Thrums Market. They have a $10,000 system. Glade Hall has a system that we installed that I provided a grant for.
Glade Store has.
Glade Store has a system. And I says, we can't provide that. Another thing that's happening more and more is people are starting to use mortgage brokers. And mortgage brokers, particularly in Ontario and other places, and that's where you get the best rates sometimes, right? Because, you know, you can get a percent different using a mortgage broker and on a mortgage, that could be a big deal. They're requiring certificates of potable water as a condition of the loan. The way we're getting around that is we're using title insurance to get around the certificate of potable water. So you buy title insurance as an instrument to utilize to get around that certificate. But that could change in a heartbeat. So that means that you will not be able to sell your property to someone that needs a mortgage. That's not a little thing. You'll not be able to renew your mortgage if the financial institution changes the rules and says that to renew your mortgage, we require a certificate of potable water. All of Area I is totally, not all of Area I, but almost. Well, I would say there are only a few properties in Area I that would qualify for a mortgage under those rules. That's a big problem, potential problem. And it's coming up more and more, not less. So we have met with IH, workshop after workshop, meeting after meeting with the Coots Creek piece, with Glade Irrigation District. Glade Irrigation District's issues turbidity in their water. They treat their water, but when it's with the turbidity, it's constant. And so they're testing all the time for turbidity. The problem is, the chlorine system that they use does not work when you have a certain, when you reach a certain turbidity threshold. So what is happening right now is, it's always bothered me. If there's anything I lose sleep over in Area I, it's the potable water potential nightmare scenario where financial institutions start saying, you don't have a certificate of potable water, no mortgage. That really bothers me. And the second thing that really bothers me is wildfire. When we saw in one fire in the 60s, 20% of Area I burned, that's a big deal. And wildfire mitigation is a big deal. And in Fort McMurray, after the fire, the catastrophic fire, they have a treatment plant in Fort Mac, but they were worried that the naturally occurring arsenic in the ash flowing into their water supply was something their treatment plant could not handle, rendering all of Fort Mac's drinking water unpotable. Nelson is super vulnerable with Sealess Creek. That's where they get their water from. And the key thing is if there's a catastrophic fire and you had naturally created, created arsenic flowing, treatment plants, even like Nelson, are not set up to handle massive contaminant like that. So I'm sharing with the APHC when we're looking at priorities, to me, the priorities are potable water for everyone in Area I. And how do we do it? Not because someone wants to force anybody to not drink raw water, because we have a lot of raw water people. They're very happy with their water. We don't want treatment. There you go. So nobody wants to force something, then it's your choice, right? But if you need a mortgage and your mortgage provider is not going to give you a mortgage until you provide a certificate of potable water, how do you do it? Otishenya's water is not treated. They have a well system with no treatment. It's beautiful water. I worked for the Otishenya Improvement District when I was a college student. There you go.
Beautiful one.
Beautiful water. It's beautiful water, no treatment. They do clean their tanks, every year with, they have to give them a chlorine shock, like the reservoir and stuff, and their lines, but then they flush them and then the water flows through, no treatment. So what we're looking at right now is like for Coots Creek, we're looking at a well. And then we're gonna have a well that's clean as our backup water system, and then we can pump that water up to the distribution tank. You get where we're going. We're thinking about that. Glade can do the same thing. They can have that type of a system.
I am on a creek,
You're on a creek, yep,
pure water,
pure water,
nice water,
nice
no
water,
treatment, no nothing.
right, but you
I've never
don't,
died,
but guess what, Andy? You have never had it checked,
no,
exactly.
and I didn't dare to.
So, but if somebody wants to buy your property and you're ready to leave, and then you go and they go to the bank and they say, we need a certificate of potable water, and you can't sell your property, that impacts your family.
I'm not selling.
Eventually, you will,
I'm not gonna be around.
no, that's what I'm saying. Eventually, it's gonna impact family, okay?
So,
So here's where I'm going.
Okay.
So when we go to interior health, so my priorities for me in this OCP are, how do we provide potable water to people that want it and not force it on people?
You're talking systems though, right? You're not talking wells.
Talking system, whatever way, how do we get to potable water for those people that need potable water for mortgage purposes? How do we do it? And the second thing is that what do we do about wildfire mitigation and protection? Because that was the thing that I thought, water, and then I quickly turned to fire. It took me 2 months after I got elected. I went through the community wildfire protection plans and I'm going, oh my God. And I looked at the historic fires. Area I is like, we can have one fire in Area I. We're so lucky in the 60s when 20% of Area I burned, that we had no catastrophic losses of property. Nobody got killed. Nobody got hurt. Like how that happened, I don't know. But some of the fires that happen right now are just horrendous. So what do we do about that? So here's the idea, working towards, and what IH wants us to do is 4 levels of protection for water. Okay, 4 levels of protection, which is monster cost. It's like hundreds of millions of dollars just in Area I alone to ever get to 4 levels of protection. But we can start moving towards that. And what I'm thinking of doing is this, and I want to use you as a sounding board. I want to set aside this coming year $100,000. And I want to provide grants, $500 grants to 200 households to start, to allow them to have point of entry levels of protection. So it could be just sediment, because we have sediment issues with surface water systems. It could be UV, it could be, you get where I'm going. So you can, so if you want to install a point of, and a lot of people have this already, and you know who has to have it? People who are at risk because of their medical issues. The most vulnerable are babies, older people, and then people who have underlying medical conditions that require them to have, they treat their water at their own expense right now. UV, like sedimentation, filtration, UV, you get the picture. Thrums Market has a commercial system. Paul put it in, Kudrid, $10,000. On a sale of the property, Interior Health is making the new owner conditional sale, replacing that system with an upgrade. Or otherwise it can't operate as a kitchen, right? So, and that's not confidential, but basically that's a condition of sale. So, and I want to start this, and I want this committee to take the applications and determine the priorities, and particularly for the most vulnerable residents, and start with the first 200, $500 applications. And it would be based on, you buy your system, like Costco has these, you can put them in your house. But what happens is that once you do it, you submit the receipt, and we cut a check for $500. I thought of $1,000 a system. Some of these systems are $1,400, $1,500 this installation. So we start with addressing potable water to a certain extent, even if it's sedimentation. Sedimentation messes up your hot water tanks. It reduces the life of your hot water tank in a very big way. Okay, from possibly 10 years, 12 years, and you're like, I've replaced every 7 years. Like, it's just, we've got so much crap in the water in Coots Creek, like your hot water tank's being replaced. You're replacing it nonstop. It starts bringing a leak. Okay, get this thing, and then you flush it out. Oh my God. So I tried flushing it out every year after fresh it. So this is a real thing, a real benefit. And start this coming year with I could start with 200,000. We could do 200 households at 1,000. We could do whatever.
How would you offer it to?
The whole community, all the households.
I see, I see.
And so what this helped me, when we said we've got 1,130 households, wouldn't it be awesome if we could cover 1/5 of those households in one offering? And that's why I did the math on this page. And I says, I want to talk to the APHC about this. And so I could do 200,000 this year. But that would be pretty big. But I could do it with using community works funds. But 100 is easy, no brainer. So then do this plan, starting point of entry. I investigated sprinkler systems on roofs, right? Like individual, and I couldn't get that through. It's community works funding because it's equipment. But for water systems, I can do it. Because equipment for water, potable water, was one of the reasons that the fund exists. And so I'm thinking, how do we do this? And I says, so I'm thinking. It says, well, we'll run it to the APHC. APHC will, the applications will come in, we will check, we will focus on most vulnerable to start. So what do you think?
Based on my experience.
Yes.
On the, trying to get a survey of water quality in the community.
Yeah.
People are very protective of their water.
Yep.
To the point where I says, stay away from me. You guys, there's so much distrust in communities, ours included. It says, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to know about it. I don't care if I'm drinking out of my septic
You're
tank.
talking about the drastic vulnerability
Yeah,
assessment.
like when
Yeah.
we started looking, just look at the mapping of the water quality in Shore Acres,
Yeah.
we had massive refusals.
Okay, but this isn't a forced system.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
expect resistance.
Oh, God, I know that.
It
Yeah.
floored me
Yeah.
for something we were trying to just look for data. The conspiracy theories
Yeah.
run amok.
I
I
got-
don't know whether it was timing, but it conspiracy.
I had
I
to
remember
deal
that
with
too.
a lot of calls, because we held up our official community plan for at least 2 years because of the Shrakers Aquifer study.
Yeah.
Right, because we're so concerned about what potentially, and every well, 78 wells were tested. And there was a drastic rate, it's public document, a drastic rating applied to every well, and the number of wells that were subject to vulnerability, and every well is identified by a number, not by a name, were huge. It was like 3/4 had the highest, worst possible rating. And so then, because shallow wells, and every property has a septic system and a well, side by side.
Anyway, guess what I'm getting at?
So is this
What I'm
something?
saying is people's personal equipment, they tend to want to be very secretive about it. I don't know what it is,
Okay,
so,
so they don't apply.
so then they don't apply. I'm just saying that's what I would expect to happen if something like this was to roll.
There's no follow-up, there's no servicing and maintaining of that. Is that initial grant.
Yeah.
You put it in, you get a grant, we grant based on the vulnerability, that's how we start. I'd like to do everybody if I could, but that could be hard. But we start with that, and I thought, Andy, do something, because people are doing that right now. They're doing point of entry. They are doing that all across Area I, where they're actually, the water's raw, but do you want to be showering and getting pelted with, sticks? Do you want your septic, or do you want your hot water tank failing, or lifespan reduced by 40% because of the sediment in the water, like pure sediment? So there's reasons for this, but I thought I sit on an inclusion and accessibility committee. I just finished one, and now I'm on another RDCK inclusion and accessibility committee because I'm a special ed teacher. I've done that for 25 years. It was all about inclusion and accessibility. So what I'd like you to do is think about what I just raised. Because when we're working on this OCP, we need to deal with wildfire, and we need to deal with water. And right now, we're not,
And I agree with Kelly, there's something, as soon as water's brought up, and I know it because I feel it myself, it's like, taboo, you'd rather close blinders to it than, because of fear of what, I don't know, government making you
Yeah.
do something, imposing, you must, and it opens up that, right? It's like, we're just gonna deal with what we got. And yet, when I had babies, I was more conscious of, okay, I better, for the vulnerable. So we got more of a system for our kids. Cause I'm like, I could handle it, whatever comes my way, but I don't know what it is. It's, I can't answer for me even, what comes up for me, you know? But it's that, there's something there, that people,
Get very protective.
I'm the same way, without a doubt, but can I just ask one clarifying question? When you speak of raw water, are you speaking of well water? as
No, we're
well?
talking surface water, all water.
All water.
Oh,
So,
people.
well water, cause I just had mine tested and the guy said people will kill for your.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like, on Coots Creek, we have like 71 licenses.
Right.
And
Kitty Creek water.
there's no treatment whatsoever. Like, we get into the tank in our gumboots, we clean it every year.
Yeah.
Like, once a year, it's cleaned out, like all the dirt and guck in there is unreal, and then there's no flushing of lines, there's nothing. And it's been like that for 100 years, right? And we have had people that have gotten really sick. We've had people who have gastrointestinal issues and got really, really sick. I got a neighbor who couldn't work for a year and a half because of a gastrointestinal disorder, and the doctor said, this is waterborne. So,
sometimes it's unawareness, I think, is
Yeah.
part of it, is if there's something there and it's just, then it's, education.
May I make a comment?
My
Yeah.
fear is.
Again,
It's gonna make us register our well, and then they're gonna start charging us for our water. That's the conspiracy.
but nobody's forcing, this is voluntary. This is an assistance grant. If you're gonna be putting in a POE, point of entry system, this is just to help you offset some of the costs. It's like a rebate program, and it's run by us, not by IH.
okay. I don't want to seem rude
No,
or
Dan,
stifle current conversation.
we're gonna stop the conversation here. I planted the seed. At our next meeting, I would like to put that under the director's report, question about would the APHC recommend something like that, right? So, but I had to, it actually helped me to see this number of the households, and I'm saying, how could I help all the households? How could it be equitable? How could it be this? And then I says, idiot, focus on vulnerability first and help those people that are already doing this or need it. And then try and help them using Community Works grant funds. Okay, so I'm
And
gonna
some
stop.
people
there.
already have it.
Some people already have it, yep.
So, I mean,
Yep.
that number could be even reduced household.
I know in in Coots Creek, I'd say half the people already have a POE system with multiple levels of protection.
Mhm. I know, it's good.
Where are we gonna stop on the OCP?
I would really like to get a little farther, but
Okay, could we
It's
stop at the end of
26.
section 2? Could we finish section 2? And then, are we good?
yeah. Is that okay with everyone?
Sure,
Okay. And I promise I'm gonna,
then keep going.
okay,
Okay, so the first question I have regarding 2.3.1,
Yeah.
and it's just a point, is, why are we including all of the RDCK population increase statistics versus, like, when this is really an area I, like, are we just extrapolating from?
Yeah, I have them both because the area one is extrapolated from the more statistically reliable RDCK one.
Okay, does that need to be included? Does the bigger RDCK stats need to be included?
it just gives perspective, Kelly, I think. That's.
I don't think it needs to, but I think it's useful. I think
I
the
guess-
the trend in the region is very important to realize that this growth that we're seeing is almost entirely driven by seniors. I think that's a really
Yeah,
important point.
Yeah, I guess it's just not to mix the two up.
Right.
You know, it's,
But Kelly,
Confusing.
what it does, it gives you, how big a priority is aging in place in area I compared to the rest of the region?
no, I understand
Yeah,
that.
I
and-
think
and
that's a,
Having all this extrapolate down to area I population growth, using the regional data is fine. But that very first paragraph where we're including the regional or the whole RDCK statistic, I guess I'm just wondering if that needs to be included in there.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting to me that area I is kind of on par with the region. You're not growing any faster, like area, but in that time frame, RDCK grew 5% and Area I 4%.
Could you put, are you, like
But if
this
it's
graph is RDCK,
region,
right?
yeah.
So
This-
could you put the graph for Area I as well? If it's the same, just sort of show it that it's the same? Like I see what you're saying where it's 5%, but I was actually confused until Kelly brought it up. I actually
Okay.
thought this was I thought this was Area I. But then when I actually looked at 60,000, I'm like, oh, that's not right.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly.
it's
Go
like,
back
oh, now
one
I'm
page
moving
where
up again.
2700
Yeah,
or 2607.
2607.
so if you want to do.
So maybe it's
That's
less,
what?
less that there's the text for both, but maybe the could we change the graphic to Area I instead of RDCK?
Maybe that.
Ah, so the stats are there for people who want it, but the growth chart.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
It won't look as cool with like having youth, mature adult, middle adult, because I just don't have that data specific to Area I. But that could be an option to, if it's confusing as a reader, that could be an option to mitigate that.
That's a good point. I like that.
That's all. That's
Yeah.
my, not to avoid confusion.
Yeah, because until you brought it up, I didn't actually, I thought this graph was just.
Add it, instead of removing that one, you could just add the Area I, so. you
Area
get
I
that
first
full
and then
stuff.
RDCK below it,
Both.
Okay,
but Area I first, because then it's like, oh yeah, there's us, and then there's the scheme of everyone else, because that is pretty super cool to see.
okay, I think, yeah, that might make it easier to read too. Okay, that's good suggestions.
Okay.
Anything else you
So then
want
on
to say?
page 7, I'm questioning the growth projections.
Okay,
We're 9% growth, potentially reaching 2885 people. We talked about we're building an Area I. We are building approximately 4 houses a year on average. And our growth has been 2.25% over the last 5 years. I just keep looking at the growth rate and I don't get where this 9% is coming from. And basically, there's this anticipated growth. Where's that 9% coming from? Because that's really important, because that speaks to the number of housing units that we're going to need. And what's happening is our historic growth is nowhere near this high.
this data comes from the housing needs assessment. So I didn't crunch these
Okay,
numbers.
could we
They come
double
from that
check
group.
that? Because
Sure.
when I did all the math, I'm saying I don't see that number being accurate, because historically that hasn't been our number. And the other thing is that I keep seeing growth projections, and I look at school district data as well, because we use this in enrollment projections, right? And so what happens is that, the ministry cranks numbers, and then everybody scratches their heads and saying, well, that's not what's happening on the ground. Like who's coming up with these numbers? I could see Castlegar numbers going up because now we got, more and more housing units, and that's where all the money's going anyway for affordable housing. It's not coming to Area I. I mean, for us to do a project in Area I, you think we don't have the infrastructure to support an apartment building anywhere in Area I. So we need to put in our own septic system. We need, like even here, housing around the cultural center. Where's the septic going? That's always the number one problem. Where is the septic going? We got water. Where's the septic going? So I crunched, I looked, and I just didn't see that 9%. So could you check that?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Then on page 8, one person hyphenated, sorry, in household types. And here, the sentence in household types on page 8, Area I and its partners need to be outpacing its population projections just to keep up with demand. Like, where's that? Is that from the housing survey?
Yep.
Hey, I don't agree. I got 4 question marks by that. Area I and its
So,
partners.
read
who
this-
are
you have to-
partners that we're working with on housing. We're not working with anybody in housing.
I feel like we're working regionally on housing because like you said, affordable housing will affect area I residents, but it's probably not gonna be located in area I because that's not where the infrastructure is. But the last sentence, you have to tie it to the next sentence. Because of the trend of smaller household sizes, fewer people now require more homes. So because of that, you can't just, your population projection, we can't use the same household sizes. So you need more houses to keep
And
up with
here's
the
what
demand
really
that you did in the past.
Here's what really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
City of Cascar never approaches and talks to us about affordable housing. They don't, we hear about funding and all of these things for all their projects after the announcements are made. We're not invited to city council, even in camera, to talk about housing and what we need for the sub-region. That never happens. So the key thing is we don't have a partner when it
I
comes to
think you
housing.
should have a partner because
Well,
area
yes.
I is not dealing with homelessness.
We
Area
have
I is
been-
not dealing with seniors
Right.
housing that's assisted living. Area I is not dealing with affordable housing. You need partners.
So guess what? The bottom line is that there is no partnership and never has been. And the bottom line is that we really need to have that. We need to be working together, and that should be stated here. Not city does a bunch of stuff and then all of a sudden we see an announcement, like, oh, now here's 48 more units. We almost met half our goals. And it's the city's goals, not the sub-region's goals.
But I feel like what you said just supported that sentence. We need partners.
Well, then area I needs partners. That should be changed, okay? And should be a partner in planning in the sub-region. Because right now there is no partnership. That's what I'm trying to say. That's gotta be changed. Okay, housing stock.
We can't get along in the recreation. How are we gonna get along in house?
Don't touch my water.
Don't touch Bill and Adrian's water. I'm not gonna, Bill, I promise you, I'm not gonna touch your water. But if you ever decide. And the grant program, apply for a grant, yeah. People like grants. Housing affordability, okay, so that one was okay. Yeah, our prices have gone through the roof, no question. First time hyphenated in that paragraph. Housing demand, see, historically builds 5 units annually. I thought it was 4 or 5. Housing projections anticipate an annual private market demand of 16 new units. So we're tripling our housing production. A total of 880 by 2025, a total of 880 3-bedroom, 365, 2-bedroom, 35 1-bedrooms are needed in area I. Like, my math is.
Not 800 new, 880 total.
Okay, that's confusing. That a total of 800.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay, that is not what it says.
Not gonna happen.
Okay.
Not gonna happen.
No, but that's not what it says.
No, I see what you're saying.
What that is saying is that what we have currently is we could have
That's what you
800
have currently, and then an increase of 60
60.
two-bedroom and 93 bedroom units is needed from
Right.
2016 to now.
So basically, right now,
just make a
then,
note,
we have
clarify.
874 or 864. And we need 16 new units by 2025, is that right?
Can you say it again, please?
Okay. By 2025, there's an estimated total of 880 units of these units are needed, right?
Yeah.
So here, an increase of 62 bedroom and 93 bedroom units from 2016. But we said that housing projections anticipate a private market demand of 16 new units in area I. But we've been building 5, never more than 5 average a year. And now we're gonna we need triple the demand. Like, that whole section needs to be tweaked because it's confusing.
Okay.
Yeah, so just, does that,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone okay with that? And, Mars? So we're gonna say
No,
something?
no.
Okay,
That's good.
all right. Then existing land use. Area I has 11 commercially zoned properties and no vacant commercially zoned properties. However, some properties not currently used are underdeveloped, that's hyphenated. There are 9 industrial zone properties and no vacant industrial zone properties. So I actually went and listed them all, looked at the mapping. What are these? And this is something that the APHC may want at our next meeting to say, okay, well, where are these? You know, where are these commercially zoned? Like, do you know where the commercially zoned properties are? Do you know where the industrial properties are?
We looked at them last time.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
existing land.
But we
use map.
did, and I've got everyone listed just by name, like, okay, whose property was this? And then we've got, where was the here? Area has 588 vacant private properties. 588 vacant private properties. Now, and those are all
The
that,
yellow, the light yellow.
the light yellow.
Land use map.
And 191 residentially zoned properties is current zoning with allow future subdivision. Because that would meet our 1 hectare requirement.
Yeah, so say their minimum lot zone, their minimum lot size if their zone is 1 hectare, then we would say how many lots are 2 hectares and larger in that zone.
Okay, and then we have 588 vacant private properties, so what is the total number of properties we have in Area I?
Oh, I think earlier we say what your square kilometers are, but I don't think we say
Yeah.
what your total.
So that, like I'm saying, 588, is that 10% of all our properties? Half of all our properties?
What percent?
Like, so that means, for example, if there are 2,000 properties in Area I, which is a lot of properties, we only have 1,100 households, right? 1,135 households. And if we have 588 vacant private properties, like, we don't have we have a lot of potential for housing development in Area I on our current vacant properties.
Exactly.
We
Which is
don't have
why
to-
in our,
We don't have to densify,
which is why in our future land use map, we're not saying, here's an area for a new subdivision.
right?
Because we don't need that to accommodate our
Right.
housing needs. We can have infill instead.
So here, that number, what is the total number of properties? If it's like 1,500 properties in Area I think it's bigger. So if we have 100,000 households and 588, is our total number 1,600? And 1/3 of Area I are vacant private properties where you could put housing on them. We don't even need any more subdivision. We have no land shortage for building homes. We just have people who aren't building homes.
Glade hasn't got any property for sale. None,
But where the heck are these 588 vacant properties?
none.
Hey, hold
They're
on a
not-
sec, hold on a sec, and I was surprised, Andy, for example, Schraker's has, I think it was 8 vacant properties and stuff like that, so.
Oh, I better not have another Pepsi and I'd be having.
The point is just because they're
Five
vacant,
alive.
that doesn't mean that people are motivated to develop them.
That's
And
right.
just because Glade doesn't have a property for sale, that doesn't mean that there aren't vacant properties out there.
Yeah, so how I arrived at that number is querying the BC land use assessment
That's
again
right.
for vacant properties.
Yes, and then I reviewed again, just specifically Schraker's, being very familiar with it, absolutely.
And it seemed
You-
accurate?
You were tight on
Okay.
that, yeah.
Well, looking at Glade, there is no vacant property there to build a house. None.
That's why this 588 number,
None.
and it's a mystery to me. Where are these
No.
properties?
No, I
Could
don't-
we do this?
I don't have
Could we generate a map for our next meeting
none.
It's,
that
They're on,
it's on
it's
the
all the
map.
light yellow.
as vacant properties?
Yeah.
Yeah, this.
Wow,
Oh,
I didn't count 58, and that's 588? I didn't count 588, like
Let
I'm
it
looking.
go up to-
No, it's
up
not
above
588.
or-
You must have it broken down into lots of some sort. Hectares
We
or
can't
something.
see like the lots sizes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this could be more
That
than
could be
just
multiple
Like
one.
what would you
lots,
consider
yeah.
a lot, a hectare or something?
No,
And-
it'll
and
be
lot.
the lot that has a PID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these aren't necessarily divided into the.
Well,
lots.
they are, those are the sublots. I actually looked at BCF.
Oh, so they,
Yeah,
Oh,
those,
okay, so
there's
that's what
monster
Andy's
lots
saying,
there.
Andy's
Yeah.
And each
saying
one of
that.
those there's 588 vacant properties and I keep looking. And I looked at all the mapping and I'm going, where the heck are these 588 vacant lots?
Yeah, this
Well,
one right here below our place is 150 some acres.
Exactly, that's one lot. That's,
Yeah,
the-
but Glade's got 10 acre lots, and they're one lot only, that's it.
yeah,
But
It's not-
technically,
not
this is
subdivided.
Glade, right?
no, but it's got
What is
nothing
that
to do with
to be that
subdivision.
big?
I know, but
That
it's,
number is.
Glade has 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
One,
4,
two,
5,
three.
6, 7 vacant lots.
And then up here too.
Yeah.
Maybe you should break that down
Yeah.
into
Here,
hectares.
right in the corner.
No, the number of lots is really important because when you have a lot, it's ready to build on.
well, no, that's,
You need infrastructure,
there's,
but the key thing,
No, no.
you don't have to subdivide to be able to build.
that's.
You don't have to do anything. It's zoned. Country residential, whatever the zoning is, it's zoned and ready to build a home on.
Seems like right in the corner there's,
There's not.
Hold on, what do you, which
well, this one here.
existing land use?
You've got the future land use. It's this
This
one.
land use, right in the corner of Glade
No, we're
here.
not looking at that. That's wrong. That's agriculture. You look under light yellow is vacant.
Yeah,
And, you go
a
take a
different
look at that.
schedule, Eileen.
We got a big map over there.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm sorry, I went through all the mapping and I'm saying, I started counting, I says, I don't count 588, like, where the heck are all these lots?
Well, I didn't count by hand and say, okay, I got 588.
Oh,
Oh, I see. This one.
But-
I got the GIS team to say, how many properties are showing up as vacant in the BC assessment?
community, one big lot.
And you know what? They don't even show up as being owned by Glade.
I know, but they have 5 lots.
They show up as crown land.
Actually, it's funny though, in Glade, it looks like the cemetery is showing up as vacant land.
Yeah,
Because if there could be mistakes like that, because it's just going off the BC
Could
assessment.
we do a number like this?
okay, like.
How many properties
Properties. got
are
5
zoned.
lots, and 4 of them are empty.
can be,
Okay,
are zone residential that we can actually use for building homes?
Here. Here's Glade, here's a cemetery.
We can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's.
so you could see this page is really marked up,
So the green.
because I was trying to figure out, I'm looking at the mapping, I'm
So
looking,
that's. the
wow,
whole-
like,
Yeah,
this is messing me up.
This in here.
but that's ground land.
Okay, 8:45. Can we get past
Yep.
2.5?
Yeah, let's
Doesn't
go.
matter. People live on rocks. People
But
eat
it's ground
rocks.
land.
Yeah, people do live on rocks, it's not a
But it's
joke.
all, that's all.
Okay,
land.
next is lack of services and utilities.
Okay.
On page 10, lack of services and utilities include safe drinking water in locations such as Glade, where a priority for some residents living in affected areas. So why did we choose Glade?
I think other communities, like Kelly said, they didn't really want to be like Shore Acres. Like we had draft policy about improving potable water in Shore Acres too, and that like got a lot of thumbs down at our open houses. I think Glade is a community where where there is a desire to improve their water.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
is there, because they really do want potable water,
Yeah.
and the problem is that the turbidity issues are unaddressed, and that's, the IH is, yeah, I get the distinction. Okay, thank you. Okay, so,
What about anyone else in the 2.5?
stop at the end of that section.
Those community themes?
Yeah.
So the other thing I forgot to mention in the director's report, and Dan, if you could add this, is that the board has approved moving to public hearing on the Terry's Community School property.
What's
So
happening there?
they were, remember they came, or maybe you
Two
weren't
or- two or-
weren't at that meeting. Pardon?
Not the last meeting, but the meeting before they
Mhm.
came?
That's that when Farrar came.
No, it was, yeah. That was,
The agent. came.
yeah, no, this is Terry's Community. Hall.
church.
Oh, the TDL, Jordan.
Jordan, okay,
Jordan
yeah.
case.
Okay, okay.
And so that is now approved for, the board approved that on last Thursday, when it was it last, when did we have our board?
Thursday.
That's on, yeah, I'm gonna forget, Thursday. The board approved, that can go to public hearing. So there'll be a public hearing on that, held at the, again, we need Wi-Fi in the Terrace Community Hall, because that's messing up our rentals there.
Yeah, that's been a hard one, is we want all our meetings to be hybrid, so it's. Then you're limited to places that you can have Wi-Fi.
You know what? Phone, TELUS. And whatever the cost is, let it rip, and if I have to provide a grant, I'll do it.
Andy,
Get Wi-Fi into the hall.
the problem is that you could say that about other halls too.
I can do it for all halls. You guys need it there? I'll
Well,
do it
that,
for all.
that is one of the things that's come up in Shore Acres.
I don't, give me a cost.
The utilization is hampered by the lack of.
We're turning away rentals. People are coming.
Well, the same.
Same thing in
Same
Shore
thing in
Acres?
Shore
Okay.
Acres, same, you know.
So I got no problem. Any community hall, can you give me estimates on Wi-Fi in your halls? And then I will make a decision on grant.
Peter, I think, looked into it already. I'll have to double check. with him.
Ballpark, do you have any idea?
Around $65 a month.
Oh, it's the annual cost.
It's the monthly cost.
It's the operating, okay, that's the problem. It's not the infrastructure.
No, the infrastructure is a one-time cost that I think
Yeah, yeah,
everyone can pick up
Mhm.
quite readily. It's the
Mhm.
ongoing
Month-
operational
monthly
cost.
payment, Monthly.
So then I gotta increase my annual grant to the halls.
Oh, either that or take away from the fire department.
No, don't do that.
But it's true, if the halls can generate revenue with more rentals, that would cover.
Some of the
offset
costs,
some
yeah.
of the
It
costs.
would,
It would.
absolutely. And if you want to get to a place of self-sustaining funding model, but until that
Okay, so
happens.
there's a ready grant in from the Shore Acres Neighborhood Community Association about marketing the hall and everything else. Okay, we're gonna be dealing with that, here 2 weeks from now.
Yep,
Okay, so we'll see what that comes out. I'm gonna do these, when halls are ready for Wi-Fi, the infrastructure cost is negligible. It's the operating cost.
absolutely.
Okay, so.
So do we go ahead and?
No, you give me a budget. What do you need? And then
Okay.
I gotta figure out my grant funding on how to support that.
Okay,
It might be that I need to kick in, if it's 60, that's 12. I might have to increase the annual grants to support the connectivity to each hall.
okay, so
We're terminating it.
we've made it, we've had 2 meetings, we've made it through 2 sections, we have 4 more sections to go. I would argue that the last 3 sections are much meatier than these ones, so they'll probably
And
take.
guess what? I've got less notes on many of those.
What?
Yeah.
Did you get tired? It's like, I'm over it, I don't wanna.
Oh, don't ever accuse me of getting tired. I just got my juices going. I'm going back.
Sounds like a
tonight.
challenge.
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna work all night and make sure I got more stuff marked up on the other
Probably
sections.
missed a
I-
hyphen or 2.
I guess the chairman has to slow down.
No, pick it up, not.
You know, it's good, this is
Be
what this is.
careful what you ask for.
That's-
Be
that's-
careful. what you ask for.
This is what this is for, is to get feedback. I just wanna check in with the group. Is this working? Cause we're probably gonna, this is, at this pace, I'm gonna say 2 more meetings. So,
But we're gonna have.
what
to
are we,
Let's
what
pick
are
the
we
next
thinking?
meeting date.
What are we?
Are you guys
I
okay
guess
with
what
that?
I'm saying-
Another-
Every
one more-
time we meet also, and again, I just wanna say it, every time we meet, you know, we kick the can about 3 or 4 weeks down the road.
Dana, we've got so
And I
many.
know we want this done, so I just also wanted to say that. I don't wanna skip the due diligence of how important this is, but I also just wanna be aware of that.
Okay,
as well.
here's
It's-
our,
it's to see both sides.
here's our meeting problem.
April's all.
We have,
April is very busy.
April's all taken up.
we have, for Glade, for example, we've got the regional park meeting coming up. Then we've got the rec commission coming.
Oh, I know, I made a list of all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so the key thing is, our work though is not contingent upon a single community, we continue this work and keep plugging along.
No, I don't mean that. I mean you, the resources, you as people and as volunteers. How many meetings can you go to in a month?
You have to understand our culture. We are meeting driven.
Volunteers.
But,
Volunteers.
but we also.
We
may
live
have
for
to,
meetings. We have go-to-meeting apps.
We may have to
Brad.
focus a little bit heavier on the OCP.
Yes.
And I know, Andy, I appreciate getting an
Yes.
update. I don't, absolutely, I understand you've been on the roasting spit at the meet.
I think I'm fairly well cooked by now.
Anyway, for people who went to that meeting.
Yeah.
It was something. to
Here's the
behold.
promise I will make, that at our next meeting, I think I've given lots of updates, shared with you the idea. The only thing I want feedback on is, what do you think about that grant idea? Okay, so that's the only thing from me, and the rest of it will be spent on OCP, I promise you that. Unless an emergent issue arises, which they never do.
Yeah, they never do.
Sounds good.
Okay, is that fair?
Mhm.
And it's fair then to the APHC. Now, Dana, before staff formalize the APHC meeting process, we would sit and meet for 4 hours.
I mean, I'm already past 12
No,
hours
no,
a
but-
day. I don't.
No, but
I
I'm
don't
just
wanna
saying
sit
is
here
that
for nothing.
we would have we met at the Fast Creek Fire Hall. And it was a time when the beer fridge was open, so
That's how long ago it was.
That's long ago.
before the RDCK prohibited alcohol at the fire halls. Let's just say we had, it was a social event as well as, we had a meeting and then it was like,
Even more colorful than this.
oh, it was super colorful. Okay, so next meeting then, Dana, when are you available?
Not next week,
I'm free anytime.
not next week.
How about the 15th?
That's kind of Easter.
15th is Easter? Easter's this weekend.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Deb, go ahead.
Oh,
I
Deb's
see your
got
hand up.
questions.
Did you have a question or a comment for us?
Can you hear? her? Is she muted?
Is our
Not. My volume's up. I just see you're on mute. You just have to, on the bottom bar, there's a mute, unmute button.
She's muted.
There you are. You're unmuted now. Oh, but I still can't hear you.
Can you type it in chat?
Can you type it in chat maybe? There's a little icon like a cartoon speech bubble.
They're getting better upstairs.
I'll put my email in too, just in case we don't.
It's fine. It's good. Lots, Ken.
Can you see that pop up in the chat?
We've got,
We got about 30
like Neil,
And then more online.
more online. There's
Neil
about-
Perverza?
Neil Denisov.
Oh, Neil Dennis.
No, never thought he'd come.
There's about 12
So is
online.
there,
I'd love to be in choir, just don't have.
12
time.
online.
No, seriously, I did all the concert choir for.
so Neil's,
And
where, yeah, no, where is that,
As a teacher in charge.
that application that you put in?
Oh,
About,
Okay, what about the week of April 8th?
it's graduates.
that application that you put in for the house?
How's that looking for you?
Neil?
April,
The week of April, eh?
Or that was,
So just a reminder for the commissioners that the April 9th is the bylaw enforcement, seminar due online,
April when?
Nine.
April 9th.
Bylaw enforcement seminar, RDCK,
Yeah,
not in my calendar.
no, that was just sent out
Oh, to the,
to APHC.
oh, okay. How come then I must have received that. Oh, just for APHC.
Yeah, and it's, just an awareness
Yeah,
of
yeah.
how bylaws are.
Neil is,
8th is good with me,
Just
yeah,
wait a sec
okay, so
here.
that's.
And I said the ready was on the 10th?
that
on the 10th, yeah.
Okay, why do I have the 8th ready?
House, remember?
I got it
Oh,
in places.
Where is that?
I gotta get the ready.
it's empty right now. I don't know.
No, I'm just wondering whether that's moved anywhere, like with regards to the region.
I need to find another filing cabinet.
Yeah, I know, I was just looking at your file.
Why don't we just say
Oh, you can-
tentatively and then I can send out an email tomorrow and
Just hang on, we'll just confirm it right now. I'll just show you I just got it here. I got all the dates. Ready, April 10th, 7 PM. Okay, so 8th is good. And I already got all the grant applications and I've gone through everything, Kelly.
Perfect.
And because I did all the homework, so.
So we're gonna go with.
Marcy says, he's a loud and crazy guy.
Well, I wouldn't want your calendar, my lord.
It's okay.
When I complain about how busy I am, I just have to think of you more often and say, oh, God.
Oh, God.
Not worse.
So 6:30 on the 8th. Is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll go to them, does the flexible on time, so.
You know what?
it's to be that week because
I'm booked solid before
Okay,
I leave
So the 10th?
openings.
okay.
Yeah, I booked
Just let's
meetings
make
before
it
this.
Easier for her with her travel, cause she's got a heck of a.
oh yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah, that's why we went to 6:30, but some of them hold them at 7, some of the VCs hold them at 7.
Okay,
Some during the day that work for us.
And they're meeting up there, I had to boot them up there today, but,
We can keep.
they're gonna keep meeting up there now, so.
Good.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
and
See.
Said to control the men. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we need down here, well, you could breathe here. It's like this is space. We've
Yeah,
got
I was a
room
little
for.
claustrophobic.
Mr. Chair, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't.
Are you gonna make a motion to?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
And I will accept that.
Okay, and before we adjourn, again, like bringing some goodies and stuff is one thing, and please enjoy, but the other thing is I want to thank you for all your time and all you do. And I hope you are getting something really positive out of all these meetings that you have attended. I know Andy and Kelly, I don't have to speak to them.
A lot of insight,
They're lifers, right?
a lot of insight.
Yeah.
But you can understand how
Mhm.
important the work is.
Mhm.
And you could, and we really, really appreciate, all of you that are here because this is so important. And it's something that a lot of people don't see or hear enough about. And I'm a junior in this process, a junior member of this process, is when you got people like Andy and Brian, who've put in, like Andy, 40 years on this. And I was 15 until I went in, so I'm 15 and 12, 13. So I'm 28 years on this, working very intensely, and I have done this for 28 years.
So,
And it shows, Andy, it shows.
One more-
about the background. and-
One more thing.
It's the awareness to get that,
Yes,
to that
yes.
place,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
our
thank you.
Deb, who's online, just wanted to say she doesn't want to extend the meeting any longer, but the next one can I just talk a little bit about the effects of Bill 44, which is the provincial housing changes, and how that affects the area as well as the changes on policy to the public hearing.
And that comes up later.
So, yeah, we can just give an overview of that at the beginning of our next meeting. And then I have also provided her with my contact if she wants to discuss it in more detail.
Does she want to actually speak to that?
No, she just wanted me to let you guys know that's what she said in the chat.
Oh, okay.
It's a really big deal, and the WIDMA stuff, like what ministry done, and at the board level, we have just fired back responses to the government saying, what are you doing to us? Like, it's the offloading, downloading, and I'm glad that the motion I made on, sending a bill to the government
And the recycling?
on the recycling and how much we are not receiving and how much we're subsidizing recycling.
I didn't catch, is that gonna be retroactive by chance?
Well, it was a big thing to get the motion passed. So, but it may be symbolic, but we're making a big point. You want us doing recycling, you set up an agency that's supposed to look after recycling. We're being charged for all those products for everything we buy, right? And then when it comes to negotiating a deal, you want us to reduce our current level of services to qualify for funding. Like,
Sounds like government.
run amok. And so you can quote me on that. It's like ridiculous. And it's so again, it's like you have to do this to qualify for funding. And then we're going, well, you're making us close transfer stations, substations. You want people driving 45 minutes to get to a recycling depot. You know, instead of being able, so you get the point. So it's like finally,
Footprint.
yeah.
That-
Problem.
Okay, so
Done.
meeting's adjourned. I'm going to shut down the
Janet,
computer.
thank you.
Deb, feel free to get in touch with me and hopefully we'll see you April 8th.
We'll put them.
Okay, roll them over.
Yeah, we'll just